Stampers and crafters, my name is Tami White from stampwithtami.com and welcome to my online class. Today we are going to be making teacher appreciation gifts, and I was having a little fun with it. It's our fall theme blog hop, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And for fall, I'm thinking the kids are getting back to school, and I was thinking of, a little something for those teachers. So I came up with this teacher survival kit, and I'm going to share how to make that, how to make this spinner card, and I'm going to share an entire series of teacher appreciation gifts that I put together with this in mind. So I'll be having tutorials for the rest of the series coming out on my stampwithtami.com blog this week, so be sure to stay tuned with that. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and welcome aboard everybody who is popping on now. It is great to see you guys. I'm excited to be able to share this with you today. And be sure to subscribe if you are not already a subscriber, so you don't miss out on any of my fun upcoming classes. I do free classes weekly. And whenever I have a free class, there's always a giveaway. And it's always a free giveaway. But entry into the giveaways are different. Today's entry into this giveaway is for our blog hop. So I mentioned it is blog hop day. It's our Stamp It Demonstrator Group's blog hop. And that means a whole bunch of the bloggers in my group have gotten together and created fall theme projects, and they're always amazing over-the-top projects. You can click on the link in this video's description or go to stampwithtami.com to take the blog hop tour and to enter. Entry into this giveaway, and it's the Confetti Birthday Card Kit. So this is a great kit for beginners all around, gifts, etc. They are for sale also in my online store, but you can win it just by leaving a comment on my blog post, on this blog post for this page. And there are instructions there as well. I have a free PDF for you, and it even has a template for the box that I'm going to share how to make. So make sure you pop on over there for all of that. All right, so with that, let's get started with the class. So here's the box, and I had a little fun putting things in this box. So what I really want to hear from you guys is what kinds of things you would put in this survival box if you were for a teacher, when you're giving one for a teacher, or maybe you're giving it to somebody else. So I tied this little hand sanitizer onto the lid because I had so many ideas in here, and I wanted to share all the different ideas that it didn't fit after I put everything in there. So anyways, when you do yours, you probably want to, you might have different things that you want to put in there. And if you know the teacher, you might have, personal items that you might want to put in there as well. But some general things that I was thinking of teachers would appreciate: a Tide stick, Lysol. I was thinking paper clips or elastics, Band-Aids in here, Post-it notes. I've got hand cleansers. I've got Band-Aids, Advil, Neosporin for those little cuts. And these cracker boxes, these were made with the Stampin Up cracker box die, and super easy die. In fact, I have a bunch of videos of different ideas using this, and I'll share a couple at the end of this class. But it cuts out the cracker box, so super easy. You just cut it out and slip in your Band-Aids or whatever, your Advil, your paper clips, whatever you want to put in there. So then you have like a little gift inside the gift, or you could just give the cracker boxes filled with things. So all kinds of things here. Another thing I'm going to be sharing in today's class is coloring with Stampin' Blend. So we're going to do some 101 and maybe some more advanced coloring with the Stampin' Blend markers. And then also I'll be sharing how to make a matching card, because you got to have a matching card, right? So the card is a spinner card. Super fun. And this one was made with the Give It a Whirl die set. So I'll share how I made this. Again, the blends coloring will do that too. This is super fun, super easy, and we all love those interactive cards, right? Because you just want to keep playing with it. So much fun. So with that, let's get started. I am going to start off with coloring with the Stampin' Blend markers. So I'm going to just move this to the side, and then we'll work on the box. Second, and then I'll share a bunch of other. So this is one of several different survival kit ideas or gift ideas that I was thinking of for teachers, or you could do them for other occasions, birthdays, etc. They don't have to be for the teachers. But I'll share the rest of my series with tutorials for the rest of the series coming out this week. So here's what I am working with for stamp sets today. So I was thinking of different things that worked here, pretty much the entire everyday things stamps that worked for this particular project, but I wanted the pencil. So I used the pencil from this one. I used the apple from Apple Harvest because of, the apple a day, gotta give it to the teacher, right? And then I took the backpack from the Next Destination. So those are the three main images. And then I used some of the words from Everyday Thanks. So we'll start with some Stampin' Blends coloring, and I am going to zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. I've got the whole collection here, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Blends markers. They are double tipped, so there is a wide tip and a thin tip on each of them. So I call a wide tip and a nib tip. It's wide, it's like a brush end, and then a nib tip. So that's for more controlled coloring. And every color, I just happen to pull out Poppy Parade, but every color comes in a set of 2. So there's a light and a dark for each color, and this is going to give some great shading. And these are alcohol markers, and they blend really nicely. But one tip here is that when you are blending, using Stampin' Blend markers, they blend best when your paper is wet with the marker, with the ink. And as a result of that, your color is going to bleed through. I've got some basic white cardstock. The Stampin' Up! Basic white cardstock is perfect for coloring, but the color from the marker will bleed through, so make sure you've got something to protect you. I've got some grid paper under me, but something to protect your table or whatever you're working on. Somewhere I have my readers, and let's get started. So I guess we'll start with the apple, right? Let's start with coloring the apple. And I'm starting with, for the apple, I used Cherry Cobbler and Poppy Parade for my main colors. And I'll start with the Cherry Cobbler. So the Cherry Cobbler and Poppy Parade are the apple red. So I'm starting with the darker Cherry Cobbler, and I'm following the actual shading sketchwork here that's already on this image. So I just kind of, and you notice I didn't do a straight line. I think that looks better when you're blending. If you just color with a straight line like this, it doesn't blend quite as nicely as if you do this. Just some tips there. So now I'm moving to the lighter of the Cherry Cobbler, and I'm just going to go around the edges here and just kind of blend a little bit of what I just colored with that dark Cherry Cobbler. So dark and light Cherry Cobbler is what I'm working with now. Getting that edge blend in really nicely there. And then I'm going to move to the Poppy Parade, starting with the darker, working to the lighter. So the Poppy Parade gives it a little, I'm going to pop, but bump, get it? Gives you a little pop, and there we go. I'm just blending that color in there, and it kind of, I love the way it just brings this apple to life. These two colors together just really add life to the project, right? They really just, something about it just awesome. So that's the coloring on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a color lifter. This is not an eraser. It's called a color lifter, and it sounds like it should be an eraser, but it isn't. It's just made to lighten up. So I'm just going around the center a little bit. This is going to really bring out, like lighten up the center, so it's very realistic looking. I think it looks just like it's so dimensional. It just wants to jump out at you. You just want to eat it after. Now I'm moving to the Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to use nib tips for the leaves, which is the thinner. So that, again, starting with the darker, and I'm kind of just doing the top of the leaf here. And then I'm going to work to the lighter of the Granny Apple Greens on the leaf. Blend that in. Almost to the bottom of the leaf. Did leave a tiny little hair of that. And then I'm going to take that color lifter again and just, oops, had a little red on there. So I'm going to get a little color in there, but that's okay. Just really make that pop. And then for the stem, I just took darker crumb cake. You could do dark and light if you want to, but it's such a small piece. I just took darker and just colored that in. And that is our apple, right? One of three. So next we'll move over to the pencil. And for the pencil, my main colors here are Daffodil Delight, Lemon Lolly, I used some Gray Granite and some Flirty Flamingo. So I'll move those colors closer. And I'm going to start maybe at the top and work down. So Flirty Flamingo for the eraser. Starting with the darker. Here I did the two sides a little bit with the darker and then blend that in with the lighter. So it looks, so I've got my source of light is more in the middle here of this image. And then I'm gonna take that color lifter, really lift that center up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna use the dark Gray Granite. For the granite, I'm not blending, I'm just coloring. And that's just this little metal edge of the, where the eraser is attached to the pencil and the very tip of the pencil. And then working our way down, I've got Daffodil Delight and Lemon Lolly. So starting with the Daffodil Delight is the darker of the two yellows. I'm going to start with that along the two outer edges and then going to the lighter and blending that in. And for the very, very center, I took the light Lemon Lolly. So this is light Lemon Lolly. And we're going to color that in. And then again, taking that color lifter and boom, lifting up the center of that. Last but not least is the wooden part of the pencil. Going to do the same thing, just the edges with the dark, and I'm using Crumb Cake this time, and then blending with the light. And once it's blended the way you like it, take that color lifter and just go right up the center. So it looks like your light source is going right up the center of the pencil. So pops right at you. And our last image to color here, this is the backpack. This is from the Next Destination stamp set. All of these stamp sets are available in my online store. And you can get to my online store by clicking on the link in this video's description, or go to stampwithtami.com and click shop online. Super easy, and it keeps me here. Every little purchase keeps me here, and I'm able to do what I love and share what I love with you guys. So, and I appreciate you very much. You guys are my why. You're my reason for being here. You and my kids. So I'm coloring in the backpack here, and I just went around the like the little clasps there with the darker Daffodil Delight. It's just such a small thin area there, those little latches. And then I'm gonna do some of these straps. I'm making this look like it's denim. I was going for a denim look. So I'm starting with the darker Night of Navy and like the piping along the edges. And then some of these like little like holders on the side. We'll get those too. With the darker, and then maybe some of these pieces here that I think would be super dark with the very darkest of the blue that I'm using. Now I'm going to switch to the lighter Night of Navy. I'm sorry, my bad. This isn't Night of Navy, it's Misty Moonlight, which is a tiny bit lighter than Night of Navy. The Misty Moonlight is. And I'm going to go ahead and add some of this. This is the lighter Misty Moonlight, my bad on the Night of Navy. Lighter Misty Moonlight just around these areas here, and then I'm going to switch down to a little bit of a lighter blue. This is Boho Blue, and it's the darker Boho Blue. So I'm going to blend in, just continue to blend where I've left off with the light Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to just continue working here to the lighter shade. So lighter shade of Misty Moonlight. Going to continue with the blending. I feel like these going with the different colors of blues are really going to give us a dramatic look here. And now I'm moving into Balmy Blue, which is a really light. And this is the darker version of the Balmy Blue. You can really see this starting to come together and just pop, right? I feel like that backpack is just starting to pop right off the page. And we haven't even finished the blending yet, right? So now I'm moving into this is the very lightest color. And that is the light balmy blue, the lightest color that I'm using on this. And I am actually almost using this as a color lifter. And I'm going, you know, like kind of blending all of the color with it. See how it really gives you this. I'm going to move it up a little bit so you can see. Isn't that awesome? So, and it looks like denim, right? It's really looking dimensional. It's really looking like denim. And then in the center, I'm taking that color lifter, maybe a couple of other pieces here, and just really giving it that pop with the color lifter. All right, and that, my friends, is our Stamping Blends 101 class for today. Then I would cut these out. These are all hand cut. I hand cut all of these. Although I will say that the Apple Harvest does have a die, so you can die cut that if you have the matching die set to go with it. I personally just hand cut them because I'm me. All right, now with that, that's how we colored everything. I'll show you really quickly the cracker treat boxes. So this was cut with the cracker treat box die, and then you just put a little bit of adhesive here and here, and then just tie some ribbon on it. Fill it with whatever you want. You can fill it with, you know, paper clips, Band-Aids, mints, Advil, whatever you want to put in there. And you guys have other suggestions, throw them out there. I want to hear all the things that you're thinking of. And then I would tie it and then add these elements to it. Now these pieces of paper, the lined paper, these are actually from the Stampin' Up! Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper. And inside that, there's so many, it is very eclectic. The name suits it. There's so many different pieces of paper. So I cut these down to 2 by 2. And then I took the spiral edge here comes from the Gorgeously Made die set. There's actually a spiral edge die in that. So I just cut the edge there so they look like spiral bound note pieces. And then used those with all of the projects. So everything's layered on a little bit of paper. Gives it a little something. Okay, so those are the cracker boxes, and we've done our coloring 101, and now let's move into the big box. So I'm going to show you how to make the big box today, because the little boxes I can put on the tutorials, those are they're different and very easy. This is very easy as well. The original design for this box was my cracker and treat box, which I have another video for, but I'm still going to make it again just to share with you how to make it, in case you didn't see that one. And I'll link it in this video's description if you haven't seen that one, because it's great. And there's so many great, with the holidays coming, so many great and fun things that you can do with this. So you could fit 3, or you can actually fit, if you don't put the dividers in, you can fit 4 of these in here. In fact, I was going to show this later, but this is one of the treat boxes I made with the cracker boxes. This is the Countryside Inn sweetened paper. So you could fit 4 in there, or you can put the dividers in, and then 1, 2, 3. So I put 1 in there. So then I have, you know, a couple little things here. Some back out again so you guys can see. We've got Lysol, Tide Stick, Neosporin, Advil. Again, Post-it notes would be great, and so many other things. I mean, if it was a good friend, and you weren't doing it actually through the school, maybe a nip would work too. I didn't say that, did I? All right, I would not give that to a teacher I didn't know. But if it was a birthday party, and a birthday party survival, or a bridal shower survival gift, then I might. So here I've got dividers, and I know it's black, so it's going to be hard to see, but I am going to share the dividers with a white base so you guys can see it better. I'll share how I did it with a white base. Anywho, so that's the bottom of the box there, and then the top of the box, which is made exactly the same, I used the Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper. I wanted the whole top lid to be clear so you could see everything inside, and I'll show how I did that too, and then added a window sheet to it. So let's get started with that. All right, I'm just gonna put these contents right back in here. La la la. And move you out of the way for now. Going to start with the box pieces. The top and the bottom pieces of this box are made exactly the same. And I have a template for you in that free PDF that you can download with the instructions, step-by-step instructions, the complete supply list. And it's got this template here to make it really easy for you when you're doing it. I think they're easy to reference, and it helps when you're creating it. So with that, you can see here these little yellow pieces again we're going to cut off, but I'll go over that with you. So again, you're going to do the same thing with the top and bottom. I'm just going to do the bottom and a divider for you. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just going to do the top. The only difference between the top and the bottom, and this is written on here, are the measurements. The base for the box bottom would be 10 3/8 squared. The lid is 10 1/2 squared. So I'm using Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper, and I liked the wash side, so that's what I was using for this. I've cut this to 10 1/2 by 10 1/2, and then on every side of all the 4 sides, I'm going to score at 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. I also think the designer series, putting this together with designer series paper, will help you see it. I know sometimes when I start doing fun folds or anything that, you know, requires folding, if I'm doing it with a black base, it's really hard to see on the video. I know you guys have said that in the past, so I try to make sure that I use colorful pieces, and I do think that this designer series paper is going to be easier to see. I know maybe those lines aren't so easy to see right now, but you can see how it's got the two double-sided there in the background. I'm just going to burnish those fold lines. The reason why I chose to do, and this is the lid, this is the top. The reason why I chose to do the lid to demonstrate is because I want to show you how I cut the window in it. I've done the boxes before with regular die cuts in them, but to keep almost the whole entire front clear is something that I used a little trick to do. So I want to share how I did that. But before I do that, I'm going to cut it and get it all ready. I'm just not going to assemble it. So I'm cutting. So we've got, can you see that? There's a grid here of 4 squares right here. Okay, so I'm going to cut, this is how we're going to make our tabs. I'm going to cut down and then basically what I'm doing here is creating a tab, and then we're going to do that on all of the sides. I guess maybe we'll go down. Doesn't really matter what order you do it in. You just want the tabs to be even. Since it's square, it really doesn't matter which ones you choose on the first one, but on the rest of them, you want them to match. So we've got tabs. That's it. That's all there is to the tabs. This tab, and then we'll work on the last tab. And again, that template's on the instructions. Go to the link you might be watching on Facebook, YouTube, even might be watching the replay on my blog or on Pinterest. But there is a link in the video's description no matter where you're watching. It might be above, it might be below, but we'll open up expand that description. Everything I'm using is in there if you're on YouTube, and the link to the video's description is on there no matter where you are, so you can click it. I like to make it easy as I can for you. We'll click it and then it will bring you to this page. Now, I am not going to assemble this yet because I want to show you how I cut the window out of the front, and in order to do that, this is a little bit wide. I gotta go this way, sorry. Back out a little bit more, there we go. So it's too wide as is to go through the, right? So there's a trick to that. Let me just move that over a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. So there is a little bit of a trick to cutting this window. I'm flipping it over to the bottom side just because I prefer to do that. And then I'm cutting the window. If you have the stitched rectangle dies, those will look great. That's what I used on the original boxes when I made these. But this one, I'm using the decal edge. You can get these in my online store too. This gives it a fun little funky edge, and I think it matches like torn paper is what I was thinking there. Now we've got a square in the middle, so I just want to share in case you can't see that fold right there. I'm putting it in the middle on about half inch, quarter inch maybe, but keeping it even along this side. Now there's going to be a big gap on this back side here. Let me zoom out again. Can I zoom out anymore? Let me just move it here. It's going to be a gap here. I'll show you that in just a second. So the next thing we need here, sorry, my second cutting pad is underneath and I need it above. Try that again. So line that up where we want it, and then I'm folding these pieces in. So this is so it will fit through the die cut machine, because the die cut machine only fits, I think it's like 6 inches of paper, and anything beyond that, you got to improvise. So I'm going to cut that through and make sure these are folded as well, because otherwise they'll rip off when they go through. You want to make sure everything fits. And we'll run that through. So there's one. Okay. So that's going to cut part of the front, right? So we've got part of the front, but then we've got like this big gap right here. I personally wanted as much of a window to show as possible. So what I did was I ran it through again a second time. And I put that die right up to the top edge, lined it up. You want a little bit of a lip so you have something to connect that window sheet to. So just a little bit of an edge there. And then going to do the same thing. Just make sure it all lines up so you don't have any mismatched areas. Go in. Make sure these little guys are tucked in. And run that for a second time. I don't have the cutting pads lined up like I should. Sorry. Sometimes I'm, in the video, I'm trying to make sure you can see everything, and sometimes that makes it a little bit difficult. Like the embossing is another thing. It's hard to see on the video, so I try to angle things so you can see it, and then it's harder to emboss when I do that. Okay, so in the end, all that aside, here's what we've got. So we've cut almost the entire center, but we've got a little bit of a lip left here to attach our window sheet to, which we're going to do next. And then we can assemble the box. Cool, right? Yeah, I thought so too. So for box assembly, I would normally do Seal Plus. I don't know where my Seal Plus is, so we're going with regular seal today. Do as I say, not as I do. I said to my kids. You don't, oh my goodness, everything's out today, huh? You're going to be replacing. Let's see a refill, because this one's out. Bing, want to see how easy this is to refill? Take it apart, pop that out, open up your refill pack. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I do this every day or every other day. That's how much I use this. Maybe I'm a craftaholic. I don't know. Maybe I craft too much. But I do love my seal adhesive. All right, so let's go around the edges where I'm going to attach that window sheet. Now the only difference between the base, come on buddy, come on. The only difference between the box base here and the top that I'm making now is, one, the dimensions are slightly larger on the base, on the top. Right, the top is slightly larger. And you're not going to cut the center out of the bottom. So that's the difference. Other than that, you're going to cut the tabs exactly the same. You're going to assemble exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put our window sheet in here. And if it's a little bit too, the window sheet hangs over a little bit too much, this one's perfect. I did 5.5, which should fit perfectly, but if it isn't, you can trim it up a little bit. So now there we go. We've got our box top and we are ready for assembly. So I thought it was easiest to do this. You're gonna put adhesive, right, on these two tabs when they're folded in. You know, the designer paper really does help see, because you can tell the bottom by the floral pattern, right? And you can tell the front by the wash pattern, so it does make it easy to see on the video. The very top score lines on all four sides. So this, and this have adhesive, okay? And then I folded in the tabs and put adhesive on that side. Now it's all got adhesive on it, and I'm gonna tuck those tabs in, just tucking them on this side. So tuck that tab in, okay? And then these pieces that all have adhesive on the very top panel that's gonna fold in, get folded in. And you can do this. It's as easy as it looks. I get that a lot. They're like, you make it look easy. It is easy. I am going to throw a recommendation out here though. Sometimes when you first do a box, a fold, or you know, a new craft, paper crafting, you know, fold that you haven't done before, sometimes, you know, like I feel like sometimes I need to like redo it a couple of times before I get it. So here's my tip. Anytime you're working with something new that you haven't done before, a fun fold, an interactive fold, a box, take a piece of old printer paper, scrap paper, whatever you have handy, and first make it with that. That way you won't wreck your paper. So make it first with your scratch paper and work out any issues where you put adhesive on the wrong side, or you bolted it the wrong way, whatever it is that you did. That way your scrap paper you can just toss out after, and then you can do it with your real paper and nothing gets wrecked. So that's Tami's tip number 5 today. I honestly don't know what number we're on. Okay, so that's how we make the box. Bottom and top the same. You're just obviously not going to put a window in the bottom. And through the magic of video, I have a bottom made. I did it in white for the video. And I used white 12 by 12 paper for this. We have that in our online store. And I have one divider already made. I'm going to make the other divider for you. So our divider here is 4 by 5 1/4. Again, this is on the PDF. You don't need to write all this down. On the 4-inch side, on the short side, you're going to score every inch. So 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. Burnish those score lines. The better you burnish, the better the fold. Doesn't pop on you as much. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to create the, if I'm looking at it this way, I did not score that right, did I? I have a feeling I didn't. So I went, what, 1 inch, 2 inches. Yeah, that wasn't quite 3 inches. I think I'm just going to roll with this, if that's okay with you guys. They should all be even, but just for the sake of the video. Because you honestly don't need the dividers. The dividers are just there for a little extra piece. And you are going to attach these two together. So even though I made this goof, no one's even going to notice, right? So I'm going to put adhesive on the 2 inside panels here. And that is going to squeeze. So just pinch those. It's almost like a paper airplane, right? And this is going to be our bottom. So it's going to go in like this. The only thing I'm going to note is on the PDF for the dividers, the measurement I have for you is the width is where my divider's 5 1/2. I would do 5 1/4. So you can trim them down if you want. It's all, it depends on, you know, your finished box and what you're comfortable with. I did end up trimming mine down. So you just put adhesive down here on the bottom. They stick in together. Put your lid on. Boom. Decorate it with all your goodies in there. Like so, and you can make your little cracker boxes and put them in there and everything else, and then you have your finished box. Yay! So that is, we've done our Stampin' Blends, we've done cracker boxes, we've done the big survival kit box, and how to make it. The last thing on the agenda today is how to make this spinner card. So the spinner card, I'm using the Stampin' Up! Give It a Whirl die, and this is available in my online store. It's a very cool die, and it's super, super easy. So I have pre-cut mine. It's a circle, and somewhere in my, looks, I probably should have cut one that wasn't a window sheet so you can see it, but I think you guys can kind of see it there, right? So it's already got the dot in the middle. It's already got the edges on here. And I also, since I shared how to do the coloring on that, I've already gotten our die cuts and cut out our little pieces here. And that Give It a Whirl die also has some cute die cuts in it. Just pull these out. These are like little hearts. So I cut those out of some lemon too for a little something. And then I heat emboss the words. You can, if you're very new and haven't seen heat embossing yet, it's super fun and I highly recommend it. You can watch some of my other videos to see how to heat emboss, but for the sake of the video, I knew it was going to get long with the box and the card together, so I wanted to really focus on the technique of making the card. So I took, these papers are from the Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series pack, and the dots and the stripes, and I apologize because I've used like 5 packs of this paper because I love it so much. But there is one piece that has all of these, like the polka dots, and it has the stripes on there too. And a couple of others that you can make quick cards out of. That I actually have a video on how to do quick cards with this specific piece of paper. So that's where I got these from. And the top one was the perfect size, but the polka dots was a hair too small, so I layered that on some of the boho wash from that. So that made it the right size, just to make it the size I wanted to. Have all of those measurements. So if you're using different Designer Series paper, you probably don't need to do this step unless you want to, unless you like that, you know. I mean, I do like the look of it. It came out really cool, but you could just use one piece there instead of 2 if you wanted to. Let me just move these. I don't want them out of view. I just want them so there's a little bit of space for me to work. Okay, and I'll leave that there for reference. Because I'm doing 2 different colors of Designer Series paper, and I do kind of like the look of that, I do kind of recommend using 2 different colors, even if you're using different ones. My base here, it's a standard size card base, and then I'm going to layer 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of white on top of it. And in order to make everything kind of line up perfectly, I used a piece of white in the correct size underneath it as just kind of a base panel, just so everything would line up right. So the first thing I'm going to do is put that top panel down, and then I'm just going to lay this kind of where I want it. I'm not attaching yet, but kind of where I want it. So if this is going to sit right here, I can move this around. My key is I don't want the hole to show. So I'm going to layer it so that that hole is hidden just a little bit. And my apologies. I'm going to use a paper piercer. If you have a long reach hole punch, that'll work too. But paper piercer works great. So I've got just a mat and a paper, the take your pick tool. And this is all about, let me just zoom in a hair. So this is all about lining up right now. Lining up where you want your circle to be. So there, see the circle? And see the hole right there? I'm gonna want it to go just below where this is gonna run it. So then I'm just gonna, whoops. You can't keep that. You gotta give it back. All right, and then I'm using some of these are round and circle brads. Honestly, doesn't matter which one you use here, but I'm going with one of the squares are larger, a little bit bigger, and the circles are smaller. I thought a circle might be easier to hide. So, because again, I don't want that to be seen, although it doesn't hurt anything if it is seen. And so I've just popped that through the hole, and this is what's going to enable the spinning. I know it's hard to see right now, but it is spinning. Take my word for it, it's spinning. Okay, so now I want to do placement of all of the pieces here. So the one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're placing your objects, right, because I want each of these to go kind of like this, is that, especially with the apple, you don't want it to go off this edge. I mean, I do have it like a little bit, but make sure when it gets down here, it tucks under. And then you can go ahead and attach. I'm just using seal adhesive to attach. You don't want to use dimensionals for this to attach to these particular pieces. And the reason why you don't want to use dimensionals is because they'll get stuck when you start spinning. You want it to be as flat as you can get it. Okay, so I'm spinning that. See how this kind of hangs over the edge a little bit more than I want it to. So I'm going to just kind of move it in a hair so it's not doing that. Right there. Okay, and then we'll put this on. And with the pencil, actually, it's not the pencil. Maybe this piece right here. There was like a little gap, so I put one of these little hearts in the gap, just for a little added something. So now you can see it spinning. Now that we've got our little things, and it's so fun. Now this is going to go on with either dimensionals or strips. Foam strips are good too. I'm going to use dimensionals. And on my original, 2 tips for attaching this. One is I double stuff Oreo'd the dimensionals. And 2 is that I didn't put dimensionals on the very, very top. So if there's a little bit of overhang there, it's not going to get stuck on the dimensional. Because the images are a little bit big and I want to make sure that you can see the whole image and it spins around nicely. So I'm double stuffing these Oreos. To the, you see why that white layer and the right cut to the right size makes it really easy to line up, just having that underneath. I mean, you could get away with doing this card without this white panel, but I really feel like it's so helpful to have that. All right, so now I'm starting to spin and I'm getting stuck on something. So the apple is getting stuck on this dimensional right here. So you can either move the apple, oops, sorry, I did that out of view, or move the dimensional. So there we go, and there's another one that's getting stuck. So I put my dimensionals up a little bit too high. So moving them down. Or you can move your images in. There we go. So now it's spinning. Something's still getting stuck. And it's my backpack. At this point, I think I need to move the backpack in a little bit because I don't think I can go too much lower with the dimensionals. There we go. So then you can just kind of move it around there so that it works. And then, let's make that so we've got, if you're not manhandling it too much like I just did, you shouldn't have a bend in it. All right, so now it's ready to go down on the card. So we've got a quick and easy interactive card. They're gonna love this. Don't forget your cards with your survival kits, right? And don't bounce when I'm done here because I've got a whole bunch more. I've got more survival kit ideas like boxes for you guys, and I've got another card that I personally, I mean, I love them all, don't get me wrong. Okay, so we've got our spinning little piece here. I added some of these hearts up in the corners. And the words went down. I used black dimensionals, but that's not mandatory. I just wanted them to pop up a little bit. And the papers went down flat. So I kind of just angled them. So I've got a little bit of notebook paper there. Words are going to go right on top. Larger heart right underneath it. And we'll just put one other little heart over here. And then add some of these guys. These are iridescent rhinestones, just because you're never fully dressed without some bling, right? Sing it, Annie. And I hope I have that song stuck in your head for the rest of the day. You're welcome. All right, and there we go. So we've got our spinner card. Woo, for our teachers. One of the hearts even moves, right? How fun is that? It's so cool. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So again, if you're popping in late, you can back up and rewind after the video to see the coloring, but these are the 3 stamp sets that I used for the teacher images. So for the apple, the backpack, and the pencil. And the dies, these are the dies that I used, the cracker box, the Give It a Whirl die, and the spiral edge on the gorgeously made dies. As promised, I have an entire series because I was just having some fun and I was thinking of different things, and I thought, well, that's a big box, right? But maybe you don't. Maybe you want to give them a smaller box. Maybe you know, you're not quite sure. Maybe you just want to make a whole slew of these. So I took, this is the Stampin' Up scalloped gift card box. They actually come in a pack. You can get these in my online store. So a scalloped gift card box, and I filled it. So I cut a window out of the top. And I filled it with a couple little things, you know, Band-Aid, or you could do other things in there. You could swap out, you know, some of the other stuff. Or put your own things in there, right? So we've got a tiny little survival box here. And this one's my favorite card. It colored exactly the same, but pow, doesn't it just jump right off? So I use that lined, delightfully eclectic paper for the background of this one. And it's just, I love it. I love it. So of course you got to have the matching cards. So these instructions for these are coming tomorrow. And then my last set, for the the teacher you're not sure what to buy for, or for, you know, the teacher that you really want to help out in the classroom, the Amazon gift card. Oh, right? What teacher doesn't want? Who doesn't want an Amazon gift card? So that one is, you could obviously put gift cards in any of the other ones too, but this one was all about the gift card there. You could do, then I have 2 different ones. I made 2 different ones here because I was thinking the gym teacher or the athletic director or the coach, right? We've got the little, the whistle there for you. So I don't know. I just thought that one was really cute. So these are the 2 different versions of the gift card holder. And I will have tutorials for these coming up. And the last thing I wanted to share, a couple of things. The backpack came from the Next Destination stamp set. So I just wanted to share really quickly. This is Next Destination stamp set, and this is a couple of other cards. I have a video of how to make the double point card. I'll link that too. But these are a couple of other cards that I made with that stamp set, just sharing some more ways you can use it. Super cute. So this one I had a little fun with that, and that's Next Destination. So this was the backpack here, and then I had the cracker die. So the cracker box die, I have an entire series, maybe more than a series, of things that I've created with the cracker box die. And I did share this earlier, but I'll share it one more time. This was I made with the Countryside Inn die. Smaller window on the front here. I used the Countryside Inn die to cut that. Put some cracker boxes in here. You can fill these with little goodies for shower favors, party favors, birthday gifts, little things in there. Or you can put the dividers inside and make that for something else too. And the last little thing I wanted to share with the party crackers, because these were so popular last season, I made these little snowmen, and I have a tutorial on how to make them. Again, I will link it. So you can put little things in. I even made their little heads, their little hats come off, so you could stuff the things in there and remove it. And I have a tutorial that shares, and even a short video, and shares how I did that. So those are some little bonus extras for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this class, and oops, sorry, there we go. I hope that you've enjoyed this class and that you learned something. I hope that you have lots of fun making these. Don't forget to pop on over to my blog at stampwithtami.com and take that blog hop tour. There are some amazing projects there. Drop a comment so you can enter to win our giveaway, which is the giveaway is the confetti birthday card kit. And also, just an FYI, the September paper pumpkin kit is out, and it has an add-on that you can purchase right now, and it's gorgeous. It's a journal, really cool. Details are on my blog for that as well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Have a great weekend.